to an all-new episode, a 5-star episode, in fact, of Props to Consider and Then Maybe Bet. I am your host. I am the paragon of virtue. I am Lou Betya. Joined this week by somebody who just told me a very, very heartbreaking story from the gambling world, Mr. Zayd Hussein. If he looks familiar to you and you watch my content, he is the only person that's been on the happy hour as a guest twice. In fact, he reported from Las Vegas once. We could barely hear him. It was really cool. So it's cool. Do you want to tell a football story or you just want to talk about what you've been up to?
You know, I mean, since you mentioned it, we might as well tell it. You know, I missed out on 150 grand going into the first quarter of the Circa Millions. I was 13-2 and live to win it all. And unfortunately, the Falcons took a loss to Jacksonville in London. And if that game flip-flops, I'm probably out in Vegas still celebrating right now. So who knows?
So your loss is my game then.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's great. Well, if you guys are not familiar with my guest, if you haven't seen him on our channel, he does a little bit of everything. He's the king of Chicago. He's got his hands involved in basketball bets, football bets, MMA, posting crazy submission props years ago. I can't remember the one you hit that was like, show me like these FanDuel slips. And I was like, yeah, we were on the same prop. Yeah. You a little more than me, but I was like,
maybe it was the Jake Matthews, there's Flowers. I had, or no, submission.
It was some like round 2 sub. You were like, bro. And I was like, I'm on this exact same thing, dude. Like we nailed it. Yeah. It's a couple of years ago, but that just shows how far back this community goes. But what have you been working on now? Like, what do you got your hands in? Like, you're always doing like 9 things at once. So I'm curious to hear it.
Yeah. So right now, I'm doing a lot of content on my own, and I'm going to start ramping it up very, very soon. So I'm going to have NBA prop bets. Obviously, the NBA season just kicked off, so you're going to have daily prop bets from me. You're going to see a lot of NFL content very soon on TikTok, on Twitter. Doing very good in the contest still, picking over 80% on the year, which is like really, really good to those
bananas.
Yeah, to those who know like how hard it is to do that. And it's all tracked. Obviously, you could go on literally the site and see it for yourself. And I'm just going to have more and more content out there. Obviously, the MMA content with you guys and everybody in the MMA community, all a great group of people. If you want to win and you want to be profitable sports betting, you got to watch these shows and you got to dive in.
I agree, dude. No matter how much you watch on tape, no matter what kind of read you have, you know, there's a lot of smart people out here and I love hearing their perspectives. There are some people I listen to just for entertainment, but that's what I love is like everybody's passionate about the sport. I think that's what makes this community probably the best one in all the sports as far as I'm concerned. But we're here to break down some props, not just have a good time talking to each other. So if you've never seen this show, just so you guys know, we're going to go over a couple of props each for the undercard / main card. Not talk about the main event. Then we'll get to the main event. Then we're going to end on a flourish with the Yam Bag Special, a point deduction bet, which always pays 20-1 on DraftKings, Betway, and other books that offer it. Zayd, what is the first prop to consider and then maybe bet you have for UFC Sao Paolo?
Yeah, so for me, I'm just going to get to the best bet right away, and I think that's Abus Magomedov. Believe it or not, when this line first, when I just saw the opener of this fight, I was like, wow. Like I thought I was like seeing something different than most people. You got to remember, this guy opened up. I think he was a favorite against Sean Strickland. I want to say roughly, or no, maybe slight underdog, but I forgot.
It was close to even. They were both about pick 'em.
Yeah, against Sean Strickland, who is the current champion of the world, just beat Israel Adesanya. Now he's stepping back in competition. Don't get me wrong. Do I think he should be a favorite? No, but I think it should be literally like a pick 'em, and he's over a 2-1 underdog. I like him by KO. I think this is a KO or bust spot for him. And I think that's how his fighting style is. And we've seen in his last fight. He went out against Strickland. He won the first round and then gassed. And you could get him right now a KO around plus 500 on certain spots. I think that's literally something that you have to take. And if you want to get in on the under 2.5 rounds at minus 130, I think it's worth the play as well because he's kind of a KO or die. And if he doesn't KO, he's going to die within the second round, maybe third.
Yeah, I like that too. I don't think he has decision equity here at all. I think if this fight does get extended, it's not, and he's landing everything on the feet and he's keeping this fight upright and avoiding the takedowns. I do think he eventually tags Caio. Not that we've seen him have like durability issues, but I think 15 minutes of striking from a boost will probably finish him. And I'm not going to be on the other side of this one. Like I can't with him and his submission props anymore with Caio. Like I'm done with it. So that's probably where he gets the submission. I give up with him. So I agree with you there. So I will move to my next one since you did not mention this one. I know what other fight you have here. All right. I'm just going to go on record and then I like Marcos to win. I like Marcos to beat Victor Hugo here. I'm not super impressed with Hugo. His competition level is not great. But I think we know what we're going to get from him at this point. He's going to be diving for legs. He's going to be diving for takedowns 5 seconds in this fight. He has enough power to at least trouble Marcos. His round 1 submission is 10-1. And it's like I said, I don't think he could sustain this grappling 15 minutes. So I think his submission prop is probably just live early. I'm not convinced that Marcos has the greatest takedown defense yet. Stop and takedowns from Simon Oliveira, who has horrible entries, who's shooting from like 6 feet away. That's not indicative of having great takedown defense. So I think with Hugo, he's a lot more explosive and he has more of a threat. He's not throwing spin stuff like Oliveira is either. He's way more threatening on the feet, has a little more power. I do think at least Marcos has to mind his P's and Q's more. If he's not careful and he gets taken down, I think Hugo may be able to control him for at least a round before he gasses. I think at 10-1, it's worth it. I don't know that that's his prime. Like his win condition is not just round 1 submission, but I do feel like it's a lot of it. I don't know how you feel about that fight at all, but I favor Marcos, but 10-1, I can't ignore for this prop.
Yeah, I mean, now that you mentioned it, like I didn't really look into that prop that much, but I think it's worth a stab as well, especially at 10-1, because like you said, it's not all of it, but it's probably most of his where his win equity is going to come, and it's going to be in the first round, I think. I mean, could he take it into the second? Yeah, but I mean, I think if you're going to bet this fight, you're going to bet it that way at round 1 submission. So
I think if he's going to get I think if he doesn't get a takedown within 30 seconds, it's going to be a long night for him.
Yeah,
I think you have to get it immediately. So,
yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next one that you have for us.
Okay, so let's talk Nascimento versus Dontel Mays. I think this is the battle of like 2 of the worst heavyweights roughly in the UFC right now. And this is a fight that took place before. I don't know why we're running this back exactly, but hey, you know what? Fuck it, let's just run it back. So watching the tape on this fight, I mean, I've been watching both fighters, to be honest with you, for a while. I don't know why I always liked watching Mays fights because I just felt like they were just funny fights. I took Hamdi. I don't know if you remember Hamdi.
I remember.
Oh yeah. So
I remember. All right.
So I had him. He got popped for like steroids right after the fight,
like
too.
Immediately.
Yeah. So that was pretty funny. I mean, I had him there, so I can't really complain. I don't know if were you on the Mace side there, or
I had one of my books put up a prop. This was Betway. They had round 3 submission for Mays was plus 13,000.
Okay.
So I'm like, I got to throw $5. Like I threw $5 on it. I'm like,
yeah.
Look, is it going to happen? Probably not. But I feel like you giving me any round prop like this, I got to take it. Then
you got to bet it blind. Yeah.
He got the 3rd round, and I'm like, all right, well, he doesn't look great, but at least I'm live. And then like 5 seconds into that round, I was like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
He's done. He's fucking cooked. So I mean, like, but all you really want for a 130-1 prop like that, like just get there, get to the round, and then I'll worry about everything else. Like just get there. And I'm like, he is just cooked. I think he stinks, but go ahead. So for this fight.
So I bet Nascimento, and the line kind of moved against me. I took him at minus 220 when it first opened, as far as just like a regular just bet straight up. But I like under 2.5 rounds at minus 125. As I know you guys are like everyone's long shot, but this is like a solid,
If you like a bet a lot, that's what matters.
Yeah. Under 2.5 here. I think Mays either starches him early, or like Nascimento could take him down and just finish him. And it's kind of similar to last fight, which basically, there was a lot of times the fight could have been finished. Both guys are not durable, so any punch could take the other guy out. I think at under 2.5 rounds, minus 125. I think it should be closer to minus 160 to minus 170 range.
I mean, even Latifi was landing some shots on him, and Latifi is no finisher at this level. So, all right, I know we both have this fight, so I will use my lowest number prop since you just went there. I really wanted to back Zaleski dos Santos this week. I really did. It has nothing to do with me thinking Renat's a fraud, because I don't. I just think this is a big step up in competition. Like, I think Kevin Lee's done. I'm not impressed by that win. The battle win is starting to age all right, I guess. I really want to take dos Santos, but I can't. I can't do it. I just think his striking, I don't think his striking's elite just because he knocked out Lee. but I think it's good enough to be able to get inside, get the takedowns, win minutes. And I don't think he gets a finish. So Renat decision, it's only plus 200. It's not a great number. And if you want to do the round 3 decision props, like that combo, I don't really like doing that to get the number down. But I just kind of think with Renat, if he wins the first 2 rounds, he gets a takedown in the third against Tires dos Santos. You saw it against Battle. He really didn't have he wasn't really going for finishes at that point. He had the fight won. He's just going for control. And I think he stays safe and tries to avoid any kind of weird, any kind of submission attempt from Dos Santos or anything that he would try to do to compromise a fight that he's clearly ahead on the scorecard. So give me Renat decision plus 200. It's not a huge value prop, but I actually feel like it's kind of safe. And I love the overs, period.
Okay, I mean, I think he does have some finishing equity. So I placed a money line bet over 2 weeks ago. I got Renat at minus 260, which now he's minus 380.
You did your job.
Yeah. So it's I'm sitting back, just sitting pretty here. But I think Renat KO right now at plus 265. I mean, now you're talking me out of it, but I think this was worth a shot. But I gotta say, listening to you and your analysis on this side as well. But I mean, I look at it also Renat's coming off a great KO. If he impresses here with another KO victory, I mean, Dos Santos is a fighter that's been around for a long, long time. We could see him getting finished here, but overall, I think you got to play Renat. Obviously, at the price tag of minus 390, you're not going to lay anymore. So you could take, maybe a KO decision. I don't think he submits him, so maybe we could do a KO decision combo.
I think it's not that I don't think the KO is live either. My concern with this bet, the whole reason I'm saying decision is because I'm with you. An impressive win all of a sudden vaults him into probably getting a main event on a fight night, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that. I just worry that if he's up 2-0, that maybe he kind of just
coast.
That's the only thing I worry about. I saw it with Battle. I don't want to say he coasted with Battle. He inflicted a lot of damage on him, but the third round, he definitely was kind of content to just be stood up or relax. So, So we both have good looks on that. We're both on the Renat side, which is good. All right. You have 3. I have 2. So let me go to. Oh yeah. We'll talk about that fight, the Vieira and Petrosian fight next. So I will. All right. This is a stupid prop, and I'll break this one down more on my shows tomorrow, but this Petrino Modescus fight, I really a lot of people that I respect are betting Bukauskas. And I can't. I can't get there with this guy. I don't think he beat Palga. I've never been impressed with him. He beat Pedro, but did he beat Pedro? Did Pedro just was all right, I'm done. I have 4 minutes of cardio and I'm screwed. I don't think Petrino is this great, amazingly skilled guy. I think people that have seen him just from the Contender Series assume he's this guy who wings bombs and has crazy power. And he does have power, but you're seeing him implement the grappling. And one thing that I really like what I've seen from the Petrino side, I know Prachnio is Prachnio stinks. Let me just get this out of the way. Prachnio is not great. But what I liked is he went for the takedowns. He's strong. He's very strong for the weight class, but he's looking at his coaches and he's listening to instructions. A young fighter who's very well coached, clearly trying to improve this element of his game. I loved seeing that. He wasn't making mistakes. He was calm. He was patient. He wasn't expending a ton of energy. I like seeing that. Even if his grappling isn't top tier yet, that's okay. He's a guy that's going to get better because you see he's making the right steps. He's not making mistakes, and he's letting his coaches walk him through it. We don't really know a ton about Bukauskas' takedown defense. There's some regional stuff that didn't look great. But on this level, a couple of guys have taken him down. It's not he's not really in a lot of fights. Khalil Roundtree's not trying to take him down. If Petrino can get takedowns here, I think the sub's live. He was hunting for subs the whole time against Prachnio. Who's to say he won't do it again? So I'll wait for FanDuel to open up the combo, but Petrino round 2 subs 1,100 and the round 3 subs 1,600. I could see him wearing him down and getting a submission late, but not my favorite play on the card. But again, these props, they've been bonking us with these props. The days of plus 3,000 in the third round are gone, man. Plus 1,600 submission in third. That might be as good as we're going to get now. So I'm going to take the stab on that. I don't know if you have a play in that fight at all, or if you're on the Bukowski side, but
yeah, I'm not on the Bukowski side. I just don't think it's you're not giving me a good enough price to take him at plus 175, plus 180.
The line's been bouncing back too. Like some money came in on him, and now it's starting to go right back to Petrino.
Yeah, I mean, I like Petrino. I think that like you said, he's only getting better from this point, and his stock is just going to go up with more and more wins and more experience. And Bukowskis is not a guy that I'm really afraid of. So I like Petrino on this. Like you mentioned, the wrestling equity is going to be there. I think he could even get the sub in the first round, to be honest with you, if he gets in an advantageous position. So I
Round
agree
2
with
and round 3 just pays more. So I had to
yeah. It pays more 100%. It's almost like the Joe Pfeiffer play that literally everybody on Twitter hit a couple weeks
give
ago.
Pepe. Hey, Pepe
Yeah.
Sylvia was the first.
Yeah,
I tailed it too. I'm like,
yeah, I tailed it. I saw it from him. I saw it from John. That play paid me over like $6,000. So it was like it was a great day at the office.
The only thing that you were worried about was it looked like he was going to get the sub in the first.
I know, and that's it. And
like,
so
don't go for takedowns yet. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
patience.
And he just looked explosive in that fight. But yeah, no, I think this is kind of similar. I think he does have a lot of submission equity here. And the second and third round, it's worth playing. I think submission just by itself, just because I think first round equity will be there as well.
All right. Well, now for the last prop before we get to the main event, I don't know what you have. I never know what my guests have, but I know that we both have a prop for the Rodolfo Vieira and Armin Petrosian fight. So go ahead. I'd like to hear what you have to say here. This is a very divisive fight. Very divisive.
Yeah. So I have Petrosian by decision. Okay. Don't know if you guys like that, but decision I see plus 275 to plus 300 roughly. I think he's going to be able to just pick him apart from the outside. I saw him live. I was able to go to the Apex and watch him fight live. I think he's going to just keep his distance, strike from distance, and honestly pick him apart for 3 rounds. I think his striking has improved fight after fight, and he should be able to pick him apart here as long as he stays away from the ground, honestly.
So I'm going to say this. So I'm on the other side, but I want to preface it by saying I don't think I've ever gotten a Petrosian fight right. So
okay.
This is probably very good for you. I'm on the Vieira round 2 and round 3 sub, very similar to my Petrino play. Oh, this one's a little easier to explain. I feel like now that Vieira's had a couple of fights in the UFC, I think the cardio concerns are a little overstated. He was okay against Curtis. Yeah, he was shooting from a little farther out as time went on in the third round, but he fought through it. Like he wasn't a total gas bag in that fight. I think Vieira is just kind of finding his foot and he's learning how to like not just constantly shoot for takedowns here. I do think Vieira can expose Petrosian's takedown. It's 36% takedown defense. He's been taken down in every fight except for I forget the fight. Let's see. I have it up here. Oh, against Christian Leroy Duncan, who is never going to go for a takedown ever.
Yeah.
So I do think that Vieira will be able to win minutes holding him down. My concern is that as big a difference as I think Vieira has over Petrosian in terms of getting takedowns is the same gap I think of Petrosian striking against Vieira's. I don't think Vieira's striking is very good. I don't think his defense is very good. He leaves his body open a lot. I think Petrosian, the kicks will be there for Petrosian if he really just wants to hunt him. He could, I mean, and we saw with Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis was going to the body of Vieira like over and over and over again. I think Petrosian could do it too. So I worry about that. But I'm not sure if Petrosian will be able to get after these takedowns. I think this is going to be a great fight. Like, I think this would be a great fight. And I do think if Petrosian wins, it is probably a volume-based decision. He's very smart. He's very good about maintaining his distance and not getting into firefights. It's the takedown equity. I also wonder if Petrosian in this fight will not be threatened by Vieira striking at all. And maybe he opens it up a little more. Like against Duncan, he had to mind his P's and Q's. Because that dude's got some legit power. And he's got some, he's like unpredictable. He's a very unorthodox striker. Whereas Vieira is he's throwing jabs and he's throwing very traditional, like his striking is rudimentary. So he's not throwing anything crazy. He's not throwing spinning attacks. I would hope. If there's a spinning attack, I'm just gonna cross my bet off immediately.
Yeah. I mean, you know what to expect. Like you know what to expect in this fight. And I think Petrosian, I just think the gap in the striking, man, he's so calculated on the feet. Like people don't understand how calculated he is on the feet. He's so good at maintaining that distance. I mean, you just got to defend takedowns. You defend takedowns here, you stuff the takedowns, you win this fight, no problem. I think at 275, he's not going to overwhelm you with power. He's just going to, touch you here, touch you there. I think he dances around, and it's a volume-based decision for me. I think at 275, it's worth a look.
And Vieira's pretty tough too. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like Vieira's just got a glass chin. Like, the dude's tough. He's a warrior. You wonder if Petrosian knocks him down, like, will he even want to follow him to the ground? He may just be like,
Yeah,
nope.
I agree, honestly. And it's going to be an interesting fight. There's a couple slept on fights here, and this is one of the fights where I'm interested to see.
It's funny. Like, I look at cards like this, and like when the first thing I see is like a bunch of minus 500s, like, these are not my kind of cards to bet. But the fights that aren't, like, we didn't talk about like Hill Gomes, like Diakese and Fernandez, like some of these fights that are like a small favorite or pick'ems. These are my kind of fights to bet. And I think this Petrosian Vieira fight is excellent. Excellent fight. And good matchmaking too. It's binary, but not completely.
Yeah, and I've seen respected money on both sides of this fight. So it's like there's a lot of, strong opinions. Yeah, and no one truly knows. So we'll see how it plays out.
Well, let's get to the main event. We have Jailton Almeida still fighting at heavyweight against the recently released from jail Derek Lewis, going 139 miles an hour in a 50-mile-an-hour zone. I'd love to know where he was going. Like, I can't. That's the one piece of info I need. Where was he going?
He's probably going to say like Popeyes or something when someone asks him about it. So
I mean, that's great. Somebody, like, that's the question that matters the most to me. Like, was he running from something? Was he running to something? Like, I need to know.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is going to be, I don't know really what to add to this before I pass to you. Like, you have a massive favorite. You have a juiced under. You have what seems like a pretty one-way street as to how this fight's going to go. Do you see it any differently than like Almeida sub 1, or do you have a different way to play this?
Yeah, I want to be different and like try to give you a different play, but it's just not there. It's Almeida sub 1 and literally nothing else. Honestly, this is a fight. I think he's able. I do think he's gonna just absolutely maul him right away. I think it gets him out of there in the first 2 minutes. To be honest with you, I think Derek Lewis is. I mean, he's Derek Lewis. He's a fun guy to have in fights, and you put him in the right matchups, and he'll make something happen. But this is not the right matchup for him at all. I think he gets mauled here.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to like try to get goofy here and like look at the round 2 props, but like, I mean, you saw what he did against Rosenstrike. He wasn't screwing around. Like, it was, he knew, just run inside. Now here's like the only thing that you can think of is like, if you have a prop that's Lewis to win within the first 60 seconds, you may as well just throw something on it, because I feel like that's his win condition.
Yeah.
Is like a running knee like he did to De Lima. Like, maybe Almeida's going for a takedown. He gets caught. Maybe. But
and it's like anyone betting this, like, and I say this all the time, like, you're not taking Derek Lewis money line here if you're gonna bet Derek Lewis. Look, you want to bet Derek Lewis, but don't bet the money line. Just bet round 1, because that's like that's literally his only path to victory. Like, he's not.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't even live bet him. I mean, like, there's no reason to.
Yeah,
I think that, like, I'm trying to spin this in a way that's like, because I love Derek Lewis, man. Like, he's giving me tons of entertainment, and he's capable of landing a big shot. But like, everybody talks about how like, oh man, Lewis gets up by just like shrugging people off and like doesn't care about jiu-jitsu. It's like, yeah, not this guy. Like, not this. This is, and like, not Spivak. I mean, anybody who's got like good positional control on the ground, I think he's gonna like.
Yeah, he's getting subbed. Yeah.
And like the Blades fight, was it the Blades fight? Is that what I'm thinking of? Where like he knocked him out? I mean,
yeah. Blades was so hesitant. It bothered me so much.
I mean, Blades is like, if Blades had any killer instinct, it never gets to that point. That's
of course.
He just doesn't. He's happy to screw around and like. And Lewis, the one thing I think is always hilarious, Derek Lewis, is he looks tired when he gets in the cage. He always looks so gassed, but he plays possum. Like, he's kind of all right. Like, it's almost like he just knows how to like, all right, I need 2 seconds of energy to throw one punch. Like, that's it. And he meters it. But all right, I mean, it's too bad we can't give something better to the people. But like, I mean, I hate main events like this, man. Look, I'm going to see somebody die, so that's great. But like, I don't like main events where a dude's like a massive favorite, like a setup. I don't need a setup fight for a main event. Especially like This is not a fight going 5 rounds. You didn't need this to be the main event.
Yeah, they could have placed this as the co-main and placed a really, really good main event, but
yeah. I mean, I get it. Like Lewis is a main event. Like, look, on cards like this, Lewis is going to be a draw for people outside. Like, I got it. But like, did we need 2 heavyweight fights in the last 4? Did we need Nascimento Mays? Did we need that fight? No, man. But anyway, let's get to my favorite part of the show. The trademark of not just the show, but probably the MMA engine, my Twitter account, my being. It's the Yam Bag Shot. If you watch it for the first time, number 1, shame on you. Watch the show every week. I work really hard at it. Number 2, we are talking about a point deduction. It does not have to be a shot to the balls. It is funnier that way, but it doesn't have to be. It is any foul, and it has to be a point deducted. So it's not like the Nathaniel Wood fight where he got fouled 17 times and nobody took a point. It actually has to be penalized. So if you see Mark Smith as the ref, you probably lost the bet. Probably lost. Go ahead, Zayd. What is your Yam Bag Shot and why? I have 2, but only one that I really like.
So let me just, first of all, with that Nathaniel Wood thing, that cost me so much money. It's
Did
not
you have
even
him finished. Did you have him by finish? Or you just had him parlay?
I had him and I had Wood live. I had Wood before the fight even started. I had Wood in so many different ways. It's not even.
I mean, he hit the cycle, dude. He hit him in the nuts. He grabbed the cage. He grabbed his gloves.
And the gloves, like the end of the fight, you have to do something there. It's like it's so sick. And I don't know. I was about to break my TV just watching it. So there goes nothing. But my Yam Bags play is in the Nascimento Mays fight. I think Mays is going to grab the cage, gets taken down, or we could see a nut shot there. Who knows? But I think we get a deduction from Mays.
So we're on the same side.
Oh my God! All right, that's funny. We did not talk about this beforehand, guys. Like this.
No, everybody knows. I never want to know. So if you've ever listened to me talk about this, or people that watch the show, I do have a formula that Weezy and I have kind of concocted over the last 2 years. So I like to look for Southpaw versus Orthodox, like strikers, give me open stances. Or I like somebody who's a huge gasser against somebody who's a wrestler for cage grab. So there's things I like in that regard. But there's another thing that checks the boxes, and that's sloppy heavyweight. And Dontel Mays is as sloppy heavyweight as it gets. I don't know that Nascimento is going to go to a lot of takedowns in this fight. He should. I don't know that he will. But I don't think it matters. If he does go for takedowns as the fight goes on, I think the cage grab's live. Mays is a dude who, if you don't mind my language, he fucked a dude in the head 4 fights ago with Parisian.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a dude who, I want to bet that guy to cheat. I want to bet that guy to, sorry for the language. But I felt like it was appropriate for the topic. And then Nascimento, look, man, he didn't look like he had 15 minutes of cardio against Latifi.
Mm-mm.
When you get tired heavyweights fighting a sloppy fight, weird stuff happens. And these are intentional fouls too, to buy yourself time. And that's one thing that I've seen refs, at least they're more apt to call a point deduction without a warning if they know it's an intentional foul late. So the only thing I'm worried about is we get this foul in the 3rd round and they just end the fight and it becomes a technical decision and we get screwed on the point deduction.
No, but I honestly like it as well. And
I had it with the hell's his name against Romanov? Espino and Romanov. I had the Yam Bags and I'm like, yes, I'm gonna get the point. And they're like, nope, the fight's off. I'm like,
that's so sick.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. I think Nascimento is gonna go for a lot of takedowns here, honestly. I mean, he knows,
should.
Yeah, he knows his path to victory. What's this? Why would you not? If you know your path to victory, you know the way you won the fight last time. I think Mays is gonna panic. I think he panic grabs the cage 100%. Honestly,
he shot on Latifi once, and then once or twice early, and then he's like, all right, I give up.
Yeah, but Latifi's a little bit better ground wise, defending a takedown, I would say, than Mays.
Latifi's way better, and Latifi's way better, and he has a better get up game. Mays has no get up game.
You're live to take Mays down.
Well, I am a tank. So
Yeah,
like,
so,
there is like I have great,
yeah,
I'm gonna take if I shoot from here and just start running toward Brazil, I could probably
you
get
got
him
a
there.
shot.
And if
I'll
he
put
doesn't see me
5 bucks.
coming, I got a shot.
Yeah, I'll put $5 on it for sure.
So that is it. We have covered the best props, main event, and the handbags for UFC Sao Paulo. I would like to thank my guest, Zayd Hussein. Tell the people where they can find you and whatever else you'd like to promote. Now is the time to shill. Shill, shill, shill.
Yeah, so you guys can follow me on OnlyFans at Zayd Hussein. So my TikTok, my Twitter at Zayd_Hussein. For the best MMA content, check out me, Lou, everybody in the MMA community. I'll also be having a lot of NFL plays and NBA plays coming up for the rest of the year. So check me out on TikTok and Twitter and Instagram at Zayd_Hussein.
I mean, he was 16-4 to start the NFL season. He's worth a follow. He is absolutely worth a follow for his plays. I should be following him because that's the prop market that's killing me. Spreads aren't killing me this year. The prop markets, I'm getting beat up on props.
I've
Spreads
stayed
and
away.
totals, I've been fine, except for the Rams. That was a very, very bad bet I made last week on the Rams. Very bad bet. Hey, if I'm going to lose a bet, would you rather lose a bet like halfway through the first quarter, or you're like, I'm done?
Yeah,
or get your heart broken. Like,
yeah. I mean, for me, I'd rather be instantly dead just so I can move on to the next bet to try to chase it.
I mean, I live bet Dallas. So like I got it back with a live bet.
There
I'm
you
like,
go.
all right. But that's the thing is like if you're dead instantly, you're like, all right, thank God there's 8 other games on right now.
Yes, you get a chance to, somehow make your money back.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, thank you again for being on the show. Next week for the pay-per-view, my guest will be Blood Money. Cody will be the guest next week for the pay-per-view. And until then, good luck on your bets, protect your bags, and we will see you soon. Take care, guys.